So I'm a part-time pre-confirmation candidate, whatever that means. And there's a lot of bubbles up there. So my topic is Youth Music Cultures of the Global South, study of uses of digital technologies within independent hip-hop in India. It's a very kind of long title. It will probably have to be shortened and streamlined at some point. So what am I looking at? I'm looking at how digital technologies are used for cultural production and scene building in the Indian underground hip-hop context, and also how does this feed into the larger media ecosystem in urban India. A bit like what William is doing, there's also a kind of localized version of global hip-hop in India, which is relatively new compared to Indonesia. I've done a bit of study on Indonesian hip-hop, so it's much newer. And a lot of it has been fueled by digital technologies, mobile digital technologies, phones, laptops, and things like that. So as I said, I'm in an early stage, so I'm looking at hip-hop itself is a technologically mediated genre itself. I mean, at its roots in the South Bronx, it was technology that played a part in it, in the way it was made. It wasn't called hip-hop back then. So technology is an integral part of how hip-hop is made and also disseminated. So I'm going to look at how that plays out in the Indian context. So those bubbles are some of the different theoretical and aspects of literature I'll be looking at. So we've got hip-hop as a genre itself, the narratives of hip-hop, the technology in hip-hop, but also there's aspects about India. So it's not only the story of hip-hop, it's a story of Indian youth, which is a largely young country. I don't have the statistics right now, but I think it's a large section of the population is below 25. And it's a rapidly growing urban population. I think I was listening to Phil Adams the other day, interviewing an Indian writer, where she said there's about 700 villages transferring its populations into the cities every day. So that's how big the cities are getting. So obviously there's a lot happening, and then most of these people are young people. So it has some kind of relevance, some implications. And of course, the fact is, India has been a kind of an isolated country for a long time until the advent of cheap digital technologies. So there's things that have happened at a very rapid pace. So those are some of the things that build the conceptual lens through which I'm going to study this. As I said, still early days, still working on my ethics application. The independent scenes, they have been around. When I say independent, I mean as opposed to commercial. The commercial version of hip-hop has existed longer in India through Bollywood and other pop music forms. So this is almost like a reaction to that. And this has been around since the turn of the century. So you're looking at about probably 15 years, the oldest, and mostly in the cities of India, Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, and so on. So I'll be looking at that. Some implications, obviously hip-hop in a non-Afrocentric context, because there's a lot been written about hip-hop as the whole Afrocentric experience, the Afro-diaspora, as well as how it pans out in Africa. So it'll be interesting to look at how it pans out in another non-Afrocentric context, feeds a bit, some crossovers with yours. Also a story of hip-hop in India, but perhaps from a broader sense, it will tell us a bit more about youth cultures in India, and also as India as a techno-modern society. So in a snapshot, that's what I've got to say. Thank you.